Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming to our Thursday night show of Ladies of the Empire. Joined here today with Miss Dina Harvey and Miss Niner Jess. A couple of the other ladies, they may be coming in. They're going to be fashionably late, but stay tuned. They will be here as soon as possible. Hello to everybody in the chat. I see Bryant and Chrissy. Thank you for coming. Today we're going to have a nice little show. I know last 2 weeks ago, I'm thinking the closer we get to the start of the season, we should definitely do this every Thursday if possible. And then that way there'd be more to talk about. Like right now I'm scrounging for topics and reaching out for topics because sometimes it's hard. It's like, oh, it's the off season, but soon there's going to be more to talk about with the start of training camp come July 18th and July 25th, is it? Or 24th?
25th.
25th. So that's going to be really fun. Definitely something to look forward to. Hey, Mariah. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Cardcast. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi,
we're going to talk about just a couple of topics. 2 weeks ago, it was just Peachy and I, and we had a great conversation about CMC. So I would like to start with him because he's always one of the most positive players to talk about. But in your guys' opinion, your ladies' opinion, what makes CMC irreplaceable? Who would like to start?
I think because he's just very versatile. He could run the ball out of the backfield. He can, catch on the run. He could play receiver. And off the field, he could play the piano. Yeah. So he's an all around person. And I'm just so glad that he's on the 49ers.
Yeah, I agree with that. His versatility is what really makes it. And his speed. Mm-hmm. You look at some of the past tape of him and his legs, his speed and his legs, his rhythm, his run rhythm is what got him through a lot of those tackles. Mm-hmm. Instead of we're used to running backs going down, crouching down and, holding on to the ball. No, this guy is like head up, knees are up, full speed, and he breaks those tackles. And his versatility in moving, that's what astounds me. Because he can drop on a dime and then speed up on a dime, and like Jess said, I'm glad that he joined the Niners, really. I'm glad that we're seeing his potential that he didn't quite have with the Panthers. So I'm glad that he's bringing his full potential here, because it is helping us in many ways. His explosiveness is second to none.
Absolutely. And then just his charisma altogether as just being the athletic person that he is, in the locker room and on the field, just trying to be, whether he's trying or not trying, he definitely seems to be inspirational to everybody that he's playing around or even just sitting next to on the sidelines, for the simple fact that he gets the ball rolling, he gets the offense, it seems like perked up to just get ready and play, gives them something to play for. And then since he started playing for the Niners, we have not lost a game. So that would be nice to see continue into.
Yeah, we came in.
Yeah. It has definitely been a lot of fun to watch him. He just definitely, the way that he comes in, even on the training, before training camp, it was the OTAs, you see him come in, ready to play, and you're like, well, you don't have to play that hard, but to him, it seems like that's just his nature. Just play hard all day. And it's like, okay, just, come on in and do what you got to do. Because it definitely is a lot of fun to watch that man. And he's definitely irreplaceable because of that fact. And like Jess was saying, he's versatile. They could just go and put him running back, fullback, halfback, wide receiver, quarterback, they could just use him all over the place. So that makes definitely his job very secured. And hopefully he doesn't get priced out.
Yeah, but I really respected the fact that the way he showed up in the OTAs. Mm-hmm. really respected that. That set a precedent, I think, for the players coming in and the players that we still have. This guy, he's ready. He's ready. He's not sitting in a Mickey D's. He's ready.
Not coming in overweight, out of shape.
Yeah. And I think that set a very, very good precedent for the rest of the team.
Dina, is today your birthday?
No, yesterday was my birthday.
Oh, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Eyes old.
Shout out to Dina.
And damn proud of it.
That's all right. I like to tell my husband, as a woman, we don't get older. We age like fine wine because, fine wine tastes better with age.
I'll drink to that.
Yes.
That is so fun. But I do appreciate CMC, and it's nice to see him on the Niners for the simple fact that the Niners offense needed a perk, and that perk definitely kept us going, and may it continue on. And despite whatever situation is going on with the right tackle or quarterback situation, it's nice to know that you have somebody there like a Fred Warner for the offense. Just keep those guys going and don't stop.
Yeah.
So our next topic.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, Jess brought this up. I like this one.
Ty is saying he's sitting in a Mickey D's. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, get me a quarter pounder of cheese, bro.
I told him to get to the gym.
Right. That is so fun. Oh, there they are. He's sitting at a Mickey D's. Hey, John V. Hey, Beto. Thank you for coming in. Thank you, David McNiner. Glad everybody was able to come in today. We're just here talking about our favorite team with some lovely ladies. And our next topic, Jess had actually brought this up. I reached out to her, and I really needed some ideas because sometimes when you're trying to think of something to talk about, you're like really stretching. So it's nice to have other very opinionated ladies that come in with a lot of facts. But this is a great topic. And is Kyle on the hot seat if Trey Lance doesn't work out? And we can start with Jess, if you'd like.
Sure. I don't think so. I think it's one of those. Now, it could be because I am a Shanna fan. But I just think, hey, if he doesn't work out, it's another player ultimately that didn't work out that they drafted. I know there's the draft picks that we gave up and all that stuff, but I don't think he's on the hot seat if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I don't think he's on a hot seat, but I know he'll probably get a lot of scrutiny behind it. I even had a friend of mine say that, if Trey's not the starting quarterback, he's leaving the Niners. I'm like, you're stupid. Ride or die,
Right.
But I know that, all the talking heads are ready to jump down his throat if something like that does happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Kyle is probably prepared for it. But we as fans have to really hold back, not so much on our feelings, but with the actual business of football.
Absolutely.
And you know what, too? I don't know if it's other fan bases. I don't really pay attention to other fan bases besides this one. But I would love to know if they attack their coaches as much as the Niner fans go after Kyle Shanahan. So if anyone has an answer to that, please let me know.
Yeah, well, you know what? Living in pigeon country, I see it a lot. I hear it a lot. They do attack the coach, like if something goes wrong and it's like a week-long argument. So yeah, I mean, here in Philly, yeah, they do attack, and they have. It was really pretty nasty. But as far as our fan base goes, we seem to just like nitpick with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no need for it. This is football. We love the sport. We love the team. Let's stick together, guys. Let's stick together and just play ball and go get that 6. Hopefully before
Absolutely.
We
before I
fight over
finish
the word competition.
Yeah. Brings out the worst in a lot of people sometimes. You're
Yeah.
like, gosh.
Yeah.
When some people hear the word competition, the world's coming to an end.
And competition should be very healthy, considering, competition not only keeps the players, wanting to earn their paychecks, keep their roster spots and not have to move down the line, also keeps the coaches and, people like John Lynch in their jobs because they're like, hey, we have something that's working. The owners, they don't seem to really hold accountability because they're the owners. They just, blow it off and blame it on somebody else, which is why I don't believe Kyle would even be in the hot seat, even if, Trey Lance is, unfortunately something that, nobody wants to see. We want to see him do good. And if he doesn't, I believe he would actually take any kind of blame. So if that's the case, who is going to take that blame?
That's a good question. And you know what? If they don't blame Kyle, they'll probably go for Lynch.
Or Jed.
I forgot about him. But yeah. Come and listen to a story about a man named Jed. He's stupid. But yeah, I think they probably go for Lynch as the next one to blame. Which
that's who I presume.
Yeah, I think that's probably what would happen, but I'm hoping it doesn't. But I think that's probably what would happen. They'll blame him.
Because we brought.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jess.
No, I think so too.
They brought
because they're kind of like a pair.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they would go after Lynch, but Jed would be thrown in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, because they brought both Lynch and Shanahan at the same time. But then his Shanahan's contract will, even in the future, be extended until there is somebody who is potentially capable of at least filling somewhat of Kyle's shoes, because you're not going to settle for anybody less than what Shanahan is doing for the team now. And it's kind of hard to necessarily pinpoint some blame onto him, especially if his offense, it could be very complicated, but he's got a lot of schemes to it that can make it very successful. And we've seen that in the different plays the Niners have been going through. And it could very well be John Lynch, for the simple fact that there's things that maybe Kyle Shanahan and him don't see eye to eye on. And when the coach is trying to tell the GM, like, hey, I know what's working because I'm on the field with my other coaches. You're just the guy sitting back waiting to come out on the field and smile at everybody like, look at me, we're all winning. But you're not doing really much of the work except for, hey, we're going to get this guy. And he has helped with different perspectives as far as with the defensive side. But that doesn't really help Shanahan sometimes, because Shanahan, he works with his own book and he's got his own schemes. And they've proven to stand the test of time. There's things that kind of slip up, but I'm so sorry. I have my neighbor's dogs barking. But yeah, I do think that I'm going to mute myself for a second and I want to close my window.
Yeah. No, I think that's still going to be the problem too, where if they're not going to go after Kyle, they're going to go after John.
Yeah.
And he's so into everything, that he's the next target. He's not the kind of guy who just sits back and, he's down there on the field. He's, walking around. He's involved, very much involved with the team. Yeah, they're going to go for him.
Absolutely. And I did do a little bit of work, a little bit of research, but we'll get that in a second. But when it comes to hearing other people, when they're talking about chances or timing, as far as with the whole Trey Lance situation, saying he's not been giving enough chances. Is it really a situation about chances, or is it more about the timing of when to place him on the field? And what I mean is, there's people that'll sit there and say, oh no, he's not been given enough chances. But if in the schematics of everything, it's not the best time for him to necessarily come in, as far as, if you're on a losing streak, you don't want to go send somebody out there to get injured. Or if something's working, they just need to reposition something. They just want to kind of see how that goes for a little while before they switch it up too quickly. So do you believe it's more about chance, or do you think it's about just timing?
Jess, you want me to go or you go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say more about chance than timing. And, the thing about it is we really don't know what he has to offer. I mean, we've only seen a few glimpses, and, God help him. He played in a monsoon, for God's sake. But, it's more about the chances. We don't know what he has to offer. I want to see a complete game without injury, a complete game, a couple of complete games. I can't really say that, the timing is there or it's not there. There is no real set time. It's either you do it or you don't do it. And for him, he needs to step it up. Go for it. Now is your chance. Now that you're healthy, now that everything's taken care of, go out there and show us who you are and why we drafted you the way we did.
I mean, Albert Breer said that he was given a lot of chances. He hasn't been given a lot of chances.
Yeah, who is he?
Yeah, exactly. But he, he needs to be out there, in the preseason, getting those reps, showing everybody what we think and what we know he can do.
Right.
And I believe for Trey Lance's case, I don't believe it has anything to do with chances, because when you look back in the history of when a quarterback is drafted, some quarterbacks will sit back for a long time, anywhere between 2 to 5 years on the bench, 2 to 4 years for sure, before they even get to set foot as a starter on the field. And I don't believe that has anything necessarily against, it shouldn't be held against that specific player, even regardless if they deserve that opportunity to get on the field when somebody thinks they should. But I do believe that sometimes in timing, if the guy certainly needs more development, which I'm not necessarily saying he does, but if that's something that is seen throughout the coaching situations and the players, if he does need it, then why should we rush somebody who potentially is our future out there if he needs to get everything right? Because if he's going to be holding down the dynasty and taking us further, even after we go through the other quarterbacks that we have, why should we have to rush him out there? Because we already see what happened when we did rush him out there. He ended up getting through 2 to 3 different injuries, the finger, the knee, the ankle. So there's certain things that you don't want to necessarily force him into, for the simple fact that you don't want to ruin his career before his career even gets the opportunity to take off. So I don't believe necessarily in a chance for him, because his chances are coming. I don't think necessarily it's right, but I don't think it's wrong either, because I want to see the best for him. And because of what has been potentially invested as far as, future draft picks, which we're already come to the end of that. We've already gone through it. But for the simple fact that he is going to be a great kid, we already seen his potential, and we haven't seen his full potential. And that's one of those things that we don't want to take a chance on missing out on, is putting him out there before he needs to be. And if the guy's content with, sitting back and developing, I wouldn't make the guy sit there for too long where he, eyeballs other teams because they're waving that shiny dollar in his face. But I definitely would give him the opportunity to feel comfortable. So when he is given that starting position again, he can come out with more confidence and the team feel that confidence, and then they understand that, hey, this guy's not joking. He's coming out here to play, and they can just all, gel together when they're on the field. But that's what I would believe. I really like Trey Lance, and I don't try to go into the topic of the, it's not even really a situation because it's been like this for quite some time now. Even when Jeff Garcia was around, it's kind of like, oh man, who's going to replace Steve Young? And you get Jeff Garcia and you're like, all right, he's all right. Was he great? Not really. He did what he could. And then after that, it's just been kind of like a roller coaster ride of, okay, we got this guy. And even with the draft picks, we pick up somebody like Alex Smith in the first round with the first pick. And to see, and he wasn't necessarily given chances, but it wasn't about chances for him either. He was stuck in a situation where the team was going through different changes, different offensive leaders. So his situation might be a lot different because the victim of circumstance kind of plays into there. It's kind of like, well, what can you do with a team that's trying to rebuild and they don't really have the right offensive, guys on there to call the plays for these players. And you just kind of are just in the muck of it all, and you just need to try your best. And that's what I don't want to see for Trey is, getting out there and kind of being in this position where he's tossed around like a little hacky sack and not being able to, be comfortable in what his skill set is, because he's got a lot of skills. And eventually, they can start Purdy. The worst thing that's going to happen with Purdy is he's going to be exactly what a lot of people who don't like Purdy would say, or he's going to be what everybody says, that are Purdy fans, that he will be. Like, he'll come back out and he'll be successful, whatever. But even from what I read in 49ers.com in an article, Shanahan did say that he has a winner in both of those guys. So at this point, I wouldn't necessarily rush the number one star, who is Trey Lance, because he did get a lot invested. And right now, Purdy's just the rookie. And even though he's working on his second year, he's got that team-friendly contract. So if he proves to be a bust, well, you're not missing out on a lot of money. You're not taking any chances of losing because, if he gets injured, God forbid, but he's not going to be that expensive to have sitting on the bench. But that's what I would think.
Okay.
And here we go. So if you are able to speak to York, Lynch, and Shanahan, if they give you the opportunity to share your opinion, whether you would or would not start Trey this year, what would your opinion be to them? How would you convince them that you believe that Trey Lance should or should not start?
With or without expletives?
Oh, however it makes it great. Because sometimes you have to emphasize.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Again, I would just say, look, you got them, use them. You got them, use them. Now, what did you do to get them? Use them and see where it flies. I mean, if the potential's there, the potential is there. We know he has the arm. Might not throw like the most beautiful throws or anything like that, but he has the arm and a distance. So use him. And I mean, you got all these other guys on the team that you're going to be using. You're taking a great risk on. Hey, go for it. Go for it. And if I had the opportunity, it would probably be a really X-rated conversation between me and Jed York. Okay. Like, you bonehead. But yeah, that's what I would tell them all. Use them. Why are we just like being complacent about it? Go ahead, Jess.
I want the best guy in there, the one that gives us the best chance to win. So if that's Trey Lance, then get him in there.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Definitely, because we only have this core group of guys that are our weapons, offensively and defensive, for so long, because they're either going to age out, get priced out, or, that unfortunate I word, which we won't say out loud, which is, they are definitely in a win now situation because they have so many weapons. I mean, they've got so many weapons, some of the guys might not have the best quote unquote stats for the year because you have so many different people to choose from as far as getting the ball to, so many running backs, so many wide receivers, fullbacks, halfbacks, whatever. And
Right.
with that, it would be a shame, and like it has been a shame because of the fact that the Niners have had this group of skills to be able to play on this ball on both sides and to get very close. And then unfortunately, taking candy away from a baby, you get so close. And it just is very heartbreaking. And I can only imagine how it is coming from the guys who've worked out hard and through the off season and in their training camps and through the year. And, when you hear them in the locker room saying one game at a time and we're not done yet, you feel their dedication to the team, and to sit there and just kind of not take it as seriously. Like, I don't believe the players aren't taking it seriously, but with the whole, the hoo-ha of who's going to start here or there, the guys just want to win. And if the team can kind of let you know on who they want, sometimes that might be the best decision, because if everybody is, being able to gel and say, hey, coach, I feel more comfortable, and maybe even the quarterback's feeling more comfortable, where we can actually win 10 games, 17 games in a row. And that's just me saying a homer statement. But the guys can win consecutively and consistently. That's definitely what the team wants, because we can't sit back and, kind of try to figure it out, because we already know the Niners start off slow. We have, the possibility of potentially losing the first couple of games of the season, because if they don't come out with their minds right and their game right, they could not be gelling as, firing the way that they should be. And we really can't afford any misfires, because anytime when we lose a game, and it seems like the games that the Niners have been losing have been the ones that we would assume the Niners would have won. And those are the games that should be considered the easy wins that we should definitely, knock out of the park and keep, because when the games do get harder, it's okay to lose, because we don't have that bad of a losing streak. And, when we're trying to beat our division and then, facing off with people like the Eagles and the Ravens, it just seems like, I don't know, you definitely want the best guy to come in there. And
Of course.
I'm really stuck on this because there was an article that I read, and Kyle Shanahan literally was quoted, and it was a video too. He believes that the two quarterbacks he has, he can win with. So I don't find us to be in really that negative of a situation, regardless of who starts, just as long as the one that they do start understands that these are the guys that you have this year. Next year is not guaranteed. NFL not for long. So, if you want to win, your chances of going to a Super Bowl, that window honestly is closing. And, we can't really say that the next guy we get to fill in somebody else's spot won't be better than the person that they're filling, but our chances are it's not going to work out that way.
Right.
But definitely don't like the heartbreak, because,
No.
when cussing at TV, you raise your blood pressure and you're like, dang, they can't hear me. It's not fun.
No.
But
in a way, I'm kind of glad.
I would definitely. Oh gosh, yes. And probably sometimes the players might hope that the fans would speak up for them, because who knows what they're in charge and not in charge of, as far as, if the guys are on the field trying to make a play, and then you got somebody who's in charge of the playbook saying, no, run it like this. But the guys might feel that, hey, it's not working this way, but it works this way, when we just, because what's happening is, just as soon as they figure out our defense or our offense, that's it. They, that the opposing team's got us figured out. And then any trick play that we have, it's like, unless those guys have nailed it and have understood exactly that trick play, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to really come out and execute that play as well as we want them to, because it's not one that they necessarily needed to pull out of the book. But, if Kyle wants to get fancy, which is great, that's what we need an offensive coach to do, is get fancy. But maybe sometimes listen to the players too, because if the game plays that you're calling aren't necessarily working, but the guys on the field you can trust, it would be nice to know that, just kind of put your trust into them and don't let them necessarily take over the game. But if you trust your guys as well as you want them to trust your playbook, maybe you should let the team kind of figure out, some situations before it kind of is too late and we can't come out of the hole.
I think they actually do have a say in it, though. Like they do voice their opinion. And I think that's why with this regime, everything gels, like the culture and everything. With Kyle Shanahan's plays, like he could have one play and there's different formations and different, so just because like you see one thing, it doesn't mean it's going to be that exact same thing. But this roster is win now. And I'm excited for this season. Like the season can't start fast enough.
Exactly.
Absolutely. We have so much to look forward to. And even without us knowing specifically who's on that 53-man roster, we have just so many different guys to look forward to starting. And it's going to be fun just watching them in the training camp also, because there are a lot of guys who unfortunately won't make the team, who you kind of are hoping would make the team. But, I think we're at 87 players right now currently on the roster, and we need to get down to 53. And I know that they can have others on a practice squad and whatnot. So hopefully we'll be able to just keep as many of those guys as we can and just work the magic. And I was doing some research in the history of the third round draft picks. Within 72 years of draft picks for the 49ers, we've only picked up a quarterback four times in the first round for a third pick. We picked up a total of 9 in the first round of all time, but only 4 in total over 72 years. And the last time we picked up a third overall pick in the first round, despite Trey Lance in 2021, was in 1967 when we picked up Steve Spurrier. And when you start looking at the different stats and the different hurdles that these guys had to go through, they definitely had to sit and wait. Obviously, John Brodie was on that list, and he was, one of the better quarterbacks. Y.E. Tittle, long time ago, but he was a great quarterback. And Spurrier, same thing. He started in 67, Dick Nolan being the coach, and he didn't really get put in until, several years later, because for the fact that John Brodie was in. And he was told initially, you're going to have to sit back for 4 to 5 years because of the fact that, hey, John Brodie's in. Now, there was one in the article that I was reading, it did quote him, and they were talking about it, Steve Spurrier, and he had mentioned that, the whole having to wait the 4 to 5 years, it affected his motivation to actually be on the team. And do you believe that with the situation going on right now with Trey Lance having to wait and play a wishy-washy game, do you believe it's affecting his motivation in a positive or negative way, as far as not being named starter and then being named starter and then not being named starter?
I'm sure it's affecting him. I'm sure. But it all depends on how much of it you ignore and how much of it you want. If you really want this, you're going to ignore the all in your head and stuff, and that's the thing. It gets in your head, and it gets in your head and it affects you. There are people arguing outside my damn door. Go away. Sorry. Yeah, it can affect you. But how much of it are you going to really let it stick in your head to affect your game plan? It's either going to make you stronger or it's going to make you a wimp. Which do you choose?
Absolutely.
Which do you choose?
I mean, he's a human being, so I'm not going to sit here and say like he blocks everything out. Like all the players. They block everything out. They don't listen to anything because, of course, they do.
Of course they do. Come on.
But it's just how you respond.
Mm-hmm. And how you choose to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, I mean, you could just sit there and just twiddle your thumbs and say, to hell with it. And say, I don't want to. But, or you can just suck it up and say, you know what? I'm better than that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Going out there.
And I think that's what Trey Lance is doing, because when you see him on the sidelines, when you know he's still recovering, you know, far from being named a starter, and this is in the past when the game was still going, you see him out there on the field, you know, on the sidelines. You see him rooting for his team. You see him there on the game days, you know, building his team up. And even though he's not the guy out there, you know, being able to throw the ball to him on the field, he's still there, even despite the fact of, you know, young man Brock Purdy's coming out on the field and winning all these games in a row, but he's still out there being very encouraged, not only encouraging himself to not give up, but then also being encouraging to his guys of, hey, you know, we could do this. We could, because collectively you're still a team regardless. Right. But I do believe that Trey Lance, if it is affecting him, it's affecting him in a positive way. And it could, you know, there might be days like anybody, you know, would have a low day, like, man, you know, I got to maybe change this potentially because maybe this is my weakness. But I don't even think he really knows what his weaknesses are yet either, for the fact that he's not been able to come out and prove to himself what he can or cannot do. So I think that's why it kind of gives him probably that urge to, you know, just stay on the sidelines and just, you know, not be a cheerleader, but in a sense, you know, you're still promoting to your guys the positivity of, hey, you know, we're winning, we're a team, we're winning. I wish I could be out here with you. And then the guys, you know, sitting there playing, even if that's another quarterback, still thinking, you know, Trey Lance is going to be out here, or I wish Trey Lance was out here. And it's just nice to see him. I didn't like necessarily seeing Jimmy G on the sidelines, especially when he's smiling and we're losing. That kind of little sickening. Is kind of like, oh, dang, you know, it's like, now's not the time.
That made my skin crawl.
It didn't make you feel very good at all, because it's like, for one, it's like, you know, we're in this position because of you, because you couldn't really stay healthy. And it's not like it's your fault you're hurt, but it's just kind of like, you know, we relied on you and you're hurt, and now you're no good to us right now. So just go away.
Get to step in.
And you know, kind of the same thing can apply to Trey Lance, but it's different because, you know, he's been injured. You know, his injuries haven't been as consistent. He hasn't been doing the same thing over and over again. And it's just upsetting because, you know, there's certain things that we as the fans want to see. And then I'm pretty sure that the coaches and the players want to see. And at the end of the day, whoever is the leader of the doghouse and whoever is going to be, you know, winning us, you know, all these games to bringing us closer to the Lombardi, I feel that definitely should be the goal, because we can't really worry about, you know, giving this person a chance or that person a chance, because it's not really about chances. It's really about statistically, and not necessarily the statistics of, well, this guy can throw better or longer or deeper or shorter, but really all in all is who's going to get the job done, who's going to maintain their composure, who's going to do it. And if you think about it, both Brock Purdy and Trey Lance, they're kind of in the same boat. Neither one of them have much more experience than the other. They both pretty much have the same amount of games played. They both unfortunately suffered an injury to cause them to unfortunately not play again, as far as for a season. So they both have really a lot to kind of show for. And we can't really pick and choose, you know, this guy or that guy, because it just kind of reverberates through the fan base and kind of just brings in a lot of unnecessary fights and disagreements, because, you know, they're both in the same boat. They really are. And
yeah, we don't need any more dissension than what we already have. You know, people like to create dissension.
Mm-hmm.
They like to create conflict. There's no need for it. There's no I in team. Okay?
That's right.
And you know, let's just get it done with whoever Shanahan's going to put out there. Now, we all have our favorites. We all have our likes and dislikes. But let's just respect who Shanahan is putting out there for now and see what happens. And if it leads us to a 6, thank you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, You don't need dissension. You need team effort.
Mhm.
You know,
Just root for the team.
just root for the team. I mean, I wear the SF, not the Lance and not the Purdy.
Absolutely. And I'm going to drop this. It's going to cover our faces, but I did want to drop this. Every time when you're listening to a podcast or you're reading an article or you hear this person or that person, it's when the outside noise gets loud, get louder. Because it's important for us fans to stay positive, because as long as we're filling the stadiums and we're cheering and we're buying up the jerseys and we're wearing the jerseys, these guys, they see it. They live for that. You can see the defense when they're on the field and they're trying to get the crowd noise up because they want that offense to mess up or get that delay of game. You want those guys to know that in every bit of way, we all support them, and that's what makes us true faithful, is through the thick and thin, wins and losses. It doesn't matter, because some of these people, they get paid to write, and they'll get paid to write whatever it is that they want to. And sometimes some of the things that they write, it's garbage. Some of the things you have to read about might be, kind of reading between the lines to try to figure out what they're really talking about. And other things you read are really nice and positive and straight to the point, or at least filled with facts. But really, at the end of the day, just remembering that the 49ers, that's our team. And whoever it is that's going to start or not start, we just want the best for everybody, because that's what's going to make the whole entire fan base and the actual Niners organization feel good, because we're all winners at that point. Even though we're not playing in the game, we're still looking forward to watching the games and paying for those cable bills to watch the games and
Oh, Lord.
paying for those tickets. And
yeah, I'm dreading the cable bill.
Oh gosh, yes. Bryant and I, we were looking into getting the, I think it was with Amazon. I think it was like the NFL package, but it was like $300. So I was like, ouch. Yeah, and you got $100 off, but it was still like $280 something. So
for YouTube TV.
Yeah, YouTube TV. And
yeah,
it sounds great, because if you think about it, you spend like $200 a month on cable TV, and that's like a basic package, and you get garbage channels.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Guess I won't be doing that move.
Yeah. But that's what we wanted to do. And then we, dug a little deeper, and then we're like, oh, wait, how much is this going to cost us? And I said, oh, $100 off. And you're thinking, oh, great. That's going to be a little bit more feasible. And then you see the price tag after the $100 is deducted. You're like, oh, gosh. Okay. Let's think about this. Let's think about this.
There's no thought. If it makes it look like I can't afford a 6-pack of beer, to hell with it. I'll go to the neighborhood bar, watch the game. No.
We're going to go eat out. They got the game on TV.
Electric Bill, NFL. No.
Yeah, that's definitely, I couldn't understand that. I was like, man, but it's their trial run. So of course the startup fees are going to be a little bit more expensive because it's new to them as far as what they're doing. And so it's like, all right. But I guess once they figure out not a lot of people are going to be willing to spend that much, and maybe there is a lot of people that would spend that much. I unfortunately don't have the Benjamin tree, but one day, still trying to work on growing that darn thing.
Yeah, me too.
Call me. I'll move.
Yes, that's right. But if there's anything else you ladies want to bring up, you're more than welcome. I pretty much ran through all the topics I had written down, and I showed my little collage. I like doing at least one thing positive in the show. If I can share something positive, and regardless if it changes anybody's mind, I'm not here to change anybody's mind. Just, it's nice to know that when you do collectively speak with people, when you have people collectively coming in to listen to you, that they understand that I'm not here to jab at anybody. I'm here to root for the Niners only. And I don't even buy jerseys of current players. The jerseys that I get are gifted to me, and I get very skittish on trying to wear them during the season, because I don't like wearing the current players during the season, because I'm not very superstitious, but for some reason I feel I wore my Jimmy G jersey and he started sucking. I take it off, he starts winning. I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this
And
anymore.
you know what? No, and that's why I made a pact with myself that any jersey I get, It's just going to have Niner Lady on the back.
There you go.
Nice.
Okay?
Mhm.
Because no, I've been through that before. I used to have back in the day, I had a Jeff Garcia jersey. Don't tell anybody. And again, like you said, he started doing some bonehead moves and throwing to bull moose up in the stand somewhere, and I ended up watching the games shirtless because I just took the damn thing off. I said, if I take his name off my body, maybe he'll win. Maybe something positive will happen, and
Absolutely.
it's just, yeah. So, it gets kind of cold, but, had to go and run and grab another shirt. But yeah, because, me and the Playtex, no. I made a pact with myself. I cannot do that unless it's a retired, a retired player like Rice or Joe Staley, somebody like that. But no, because if it happens, I'm to blame. I can blame
That's
me.
right. And it's nice. Bryant and I, we go in and, you can go buy those customizable jerseys. The jersey you get is actually like a Niner jersey, but instead of having a player's name, you can have your name. So we do. We have a matching set of jerseys that way. And it's the number 3. So a lot of people, if they don't know, they'll be like, oh, Beathard? I'm like, no, Culp. You can't trade me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm a Niner for life.
The only person that can trade me is God.
That's right. He's not going to trade me.
Okay? No.
Tony, you can't wear George Kittle's jersey, okay?
Oh, no, definitely not. No. See, Bryant, he has a really nice one. He has a white one. I don't do white. White, being a mom and the 2-year-old, she's, I put a brand new lovely shirt on. It's white. She touches me one time. That's it. It's ruined. It doesn't matter how soon I get to it. It's ruined. I'm like, dang. But Bryant has a really nice white Kittle jersey, and I envy him because I'm like, I would love to keep white nice, but I can't do it. I cannot wear the players' current jerseys. I'll rock a Sherman jersey because, I am a big Sherman fan when he played for the Niners. I definitely was not a Sherman fan when he was a Seahawk. But when he came to the Niners and he shut down the side of the field, I was like, oh, yeah, that guy, he's great.
Yeah.
So I'll rock his. But
yeah,
I'll wear my number 3. But that's because Bryant and his family, he wears number 3 because when his parents, when they get married, dad's 1, mom's 2, their firstborn son, he's number 3. So anybody who gets added into the family, they take on that preceding number. I would be number 7, but I do not dare rock a number 7 jersey, unfortunately, because I don't want to be, Kaepernick. No offense to the guy, but, and 7's my favorite number, but it's all right. I'll wear a 3. 3 is such a better number.
No. And I got a, what is it? I got a Tom Rathman jersey from Beto a couple of years ago. And because he's like one of my all-time favorites. I love Tom Rathman. And then I bought a jersey and I said, I gotta think of a hip number. So what I did was I put the year of my birth on it. Little did I know that our center would use my number.
Oh, no.
I was not pleased.
No.
So, my friends are like, why would you get, the year of your birth on it? I said, in case I'm walking a street and in something and I forget who the hell I am or what I am, I would say, at least I was born in 1964. Does anybody know me? Something. But
Awesome.
I was not too enthused when I saw our center with my number. I was like, you weren't supposed to take that, and I had some guy criticize me over that. It's like, oh, Niner Lady, that's not the position he plays. I'm like, who are you? That's not the center's name.
Of course.
You don't think I know that?
Yeah, that's
So,
what I
yeah.
really like about those. Those customized jerseys, they're so fun. You can, I've contemplated buying a couple of them for family members because in my family, unfortunately, we have Raider fans and Cowboy fans. So I'm not willing to necessarily go buy them anybody from their specific team, but I'll get them a customized jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get them a customized Raider jersey or a customized Cowboy jersey, but I'm not going to buy you somebody from your team unless I really like the gift and I'm like, okay. But it's just hard to go and buy the opposing team's jersey, and you're like, ooh, even if it's a gift, it's like it burns.
Yeah. I don't even want to touch it. Ooh.
That's right. Like I'm painted.
Yeah, my Tom Rathman jersey is white, and
nice.
I make sure it stays that way, especially when I'm around people.
Mm-hmm.
And like, hey, Dina, how you doing? Don't back
Don't
off.
touch.
Back off.
I'm in the don't touch clothes, all right?
Yes, right. I have a zone. It's the Rathman zone. Do not touch.
So you stick your hand out, 3 feet, stay back.
That's right. The bottom line, I just want us all to stick together and support the team and do what we're supposed to do as fans. Root for one another. And like Tony and I were discussing earlier about, agreeing to disagree. There's no harm in that. That's what keeps us rolling. But, there's no I in team. We got to support each other. And I think this year we're going to see that cohesiveness gel more. And I'm psyched because Jess, just like you said, we have a dynamite team. We have a team that can take this, and I'm ready to rock it. But if if I'm wearing my Rathman jersey, don't rock me from far.
Everyone has an opinion. Let's just respect everybody's opinion. Root for the team. And let's get this season rolling.
We have to. And for God's sake, please beat the Pigeons and the Ravens.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are the 2 necessary games to win. I don't mind us losing to the Seahawks at least once, not twice. At least once is fine. But we got to beat the Eagles and we got to beat the Ravens because those are the 2. Oh, I don't know. I had posted it on my Twitter, but some Eagles fan thought he was going to get creative and he decided to write a poem about the Niners and, in his words, the 40-winers. And I was compelled. I was like, let me see what this dummy had to say. So I clicked on it and I read it, and it was awful. So if the Niners organization and the teammates and the fans see that, I just really hope that the Niners use it as fuel to the fire when they go in week 13 to go spank the Eagles that much harder, because that guy, I could have smacked him with his own book. I was like, oh, no, you did not.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I hear it all the time. Oh, the 40-winers. Yeah, you see how much we whining when we whip your ass, okay? Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's for sure. That is for sure. Well, if there's anything else you ladies want to bring up, you are more than welcome. We've been here for about 54 minutes, and our other 3 ladies didn't show up, which is fine. They did say that they may or may not show up. We miss them, and hopefully in the next week or 2, who knows, maybe in the next week we can start doing the Thursday shows every Thursday.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
I'm glad.
I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. We do appreciate you all stopping by, and liking, subscribing, sharing with your friends, and helping to build this channel up. And don't forget to check out Niners, East Coast Red and Gold. You can always find Dina. She's in Niners Sickness podcast. She's in Korey Davis podcast.
Everybody's podcast.
Currently doesn't have a channel, but you can always find her here. You can find Dina everywhere. But I do appreciate everybody being here, and thank you, ladies, so much for popping in, because the show would not be a show without you, that's for sure. And you girls bring great potential and all kinds of great things to talk about. And I love your perspective because it just makes everybody's perspective that much nicer.
Well, you got to remember too, like, even though we're all different individuals, but we have one common love, and that's our 49ers.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And Ty, if you're still in Mickey D's parking lot, call me. I need a quarter pounder with cheese and some large fries.
I'll take a milkshake.
Bang.
A milkshake, that'd be great. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in, and I hope everybody has a great night from the West Coast to the East Coast and everywhere across the pond. May you have a great rest of your evening.
Go Niners.
And thank you, ladies.
Peace.